Hi, I'm Rochelle Butler. Welcome to another episode on Eat, Move, Be Healthy. It never surprises me it always amuses me, in fact, when I take on new clients. We do a whole health and medical questionnaire and a consultation. And one question everybody always gets right and can tell you straight off the bat is exactly how much they weigh, down to the half a kilo. They may not remember which year or how many years ago they had their big knee replacement or knee operation, but they remember their weight, and they even more so frequently remember the best weight they ever were when they were in their 20s and playing some sport regularly. People get quite obsessed with that number, which in itself isn't a great thing. But more importantly, what you may have noticed by weighing yourself regularly is that you, over a 24-hour, even sometimes 8-hour period, that you may lose weight and gain weight without much explanation. Sometimes you can have gained weight overnight having skipped dinner, or still be the same weight by the end of the day as you were in the morning, or having, consumed 3 meals. So I'll explain exactly what's going on there, and then from there you'll understand why it's not a bad idea to consider either relocating those scales to a different part of the room or chucking them out altogether. I'll also talk through some better strategies and measurements by way of monitoring your weight loss and ultimate shape change. So why bother with the scales? Why weigh yourself? Well, the measurement of weight, when you stand on the scales and you get told how much you weigh, is a bit like your blood pressure measurement. It's really, really useful, and it gives us an indication of where weight particularly can be a real indication of roughly where your health is at and how much strain your body is under. Sudden weight loss can indicate certain illnesses, sudden weight gain, the same thing. So it is a good measurement as an overall overview, like your blood pressure, but you do need to take it as an overview and take the individual measurement in context. And of course, like your blood pressure, it is partial to fluctuation and down to a lot of influence. A lot of things, variations influence it subtly, which is why you can see those weight changes overnight, right? So, of course, like your blood pressure, they like you to take it at the same time every day for a few days to get a measure. You need to take it under the same sort of conditions, the same thing with your weight. You need to take it under the same sort of conditions to get a true comparison. So your weight may change depending on whether or not you've eaten, whether your tummy's full at the time of measuring or empty, whether in case you may need the loo or not. I mean, I've seen people lose 1 kilogram after having gone to the loo. So we're talking big differences here, right? And then, of course, whether or not you've eaten and what you've eaten. So certainly eating carbohydrates, for instance, having eaten carbohydrates bond with water. And so if you've had a carbohydrate heavy meal, perhaps overnight, you've retained water a lot more, and that will make you heavier on the scales, because the scales don't differentiate between water, muscle, and fat. See, when you immediately reduce your calories or reduce your intake or start a diet program, the first things you'll see that instant weight loss is, of course, just the reduction in water. So water retention can make you be heavier, and that can also be through medication. It can also be through, you may weigh less suddenly post-exercise if you've really come on with a big sweat and got rid of a lot of that water. And if, of course, like I've explained, if you've cleared your bowels or not, that can make a difference too. The conditions too, quite simply, when you weigh yourself, the last time did you have your shoes on, off? Shoes themselves can weigh nearly 500 grams, half a kilogram. Big, thick coat, jacket, jeans, these kind of things are heavy. So you've always got to weigh yourself in the exact same or similar conditions. Time of day makes a difference with women, depending on where you are in your cycle, because there's sometimes water retention within that stage of the cycle too. So that leading up to your menstruation, you can often be heavier, but that then shifts back into place. So you can see there's all these many things that are playing its part on those fluctuations, which doesn't help you get an accurate reading if you're weighing yourself every day, every morning, every night. So like I explained before, a better reading is to do one perhaps your starting point, and then perhaps no sooner than 2 weeks later, or even 4 weeks later. I weigh my clients the first week, and then we may touch base halfway through because the person's just dying to know, or otherwise the first time I weigh them again is 6 to 8 weeks into a specific program. In your efforts and your bid and your intentions to then lose weight, you will have made adjustments to your diet, and I've explained how that can affect your initial readings and initial weight loss. The other thing, of course, you may then start to take up is exercise. And this is where it becomes tricky, because people get a little bit disillusioned here. But often when you're taking up an exercise program, whether you're following someone online, doing your own thing, or going to the gym, what you need to appreciate, of course, is that when you're building muscle, and we're not talking bodybuilding, building muscle, when you're even doing your lighter weights at the gym and resistance training, resistance band workouts, where you're toning and strengthening the muscles, that can almost add weight. Or what you might see on the scales is that you don't lose any weight at all. Occasionally you may even weigh more. And that's because, of course, muscle, simply put, muscle weighs more than fat. But here's the kicker. Muscle is denser, more compact than fat. So if you imagine fat, this big blob of just all out there. But muscle, toned, shapely, coming in at the waist, nice legs, nice shaped arms, that's sculpted and that's densely packed, tight muscle tissue. But that in itself will have weight. So that's what brings me then to what's a truer measurement of your progress in a healthy weight loss program, is that if you've got a lot of fat to lose, just fat, that will happen steady and slow. But what will happen, and steady and slow, because while you're doing an exercise program, your muscles will tone and keep your overall weight, as in the measurement on the scale, staying fairly up. So you won't suddenly lose 10K, it'll be over a period of time. But for women, here's the thing I always say. You would happily weigh, I'm going to choose a crazy amount now, 200 kilograms if you fitted into the jeans you wanted to fit into, looked good in your bathing suit, and felt good about your body. You wouldn't care what the number on the scales were. And that's the approach that I encourage my clients to have. What we then, of course, use is good old-fashioned measuring tape. Your measurements are a much better indication of your progress. And what you'll see is when you're losing body fat, you'll lose it from around the tummy, around the arms, in all the typical fat spots where you tend to put on weight, also around the hips and the thighs. And that's what you can measure, that coming down. We also, of course, we measure the body, we do body composition analysis, and I get a measure of what your body fat is, body fat on its own. Remember, when you're standing on the scale, your body's measuring everything, the weight of your hair, the water, the fluid you contain, your fat, and your muscle. So it's not differentiating. However, when we do the body composition analysis, the body fat percentage, you can tell how much your weight, your fat is weighing, and how much fat you have. There's also scales then with regards to your age group and your height and gender, with how much body fat you should have. Know that fat is not the enemy. Fat is essential to everyday functioning. If that body fat percentage gets too low, normal functions like menstruation can't happen. The body starts to shut down on certain non-essential functions first. And so reducing your body fat percentage to nothing is unhelpful and unhealthy. So you do require a certain amount of body fat that is necessary, but the body fat percentage reading will give you an indication what's a healthy weight and fat percentage range for your age and gender. So before you chuck those scales out for good, I'd like you to go to my website, thepersonaltrainingcenter.com. Click on the online coaching tab, where you'll be able to download the free PDF, Watch My Shape Change. And I show you where to measure, and you get an opportunity, where on your body to measure. And also you get an opportunity there to log your progress over a 6-month period, and you get to see exactly how and precisely where on your body is responding to your health and exercise efforts. If you know anybody who's feeling frustrated by what the scales are reporting back despite their best efforts to improve their diet and to exercise, please share this information with them. Also, leave a comment below and let me know how you're getting on with your progress and your weight loss goals.